Hello and welcome to the channel where we'll talk about all things card games and chill with friends. My name is Liam and today I want to share with you my Suisei Iroha deck profile. Now if you are new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button, and if you enjoy this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. Check out my other socials, links down in the description, and if you want to support the channel even further, please consider becoming a member and hitting that join button down below. But let's jump straight in. So I've seen a few comments and messages on social media asking to see more deck profiles, especially around the English format of the game. Now I've done deck profiles on the Japanese side, but because I own the English cards, I think it's quite nice to do like English deck profiles with the physical cards. And this deck is a deck that doesn't change a huge amount with set 2. It does change a fair bit come set 3. But it's also a deck that still shows up quite a bit in the Japanese format with the changes of set 3. And that is Suisei Iroha. Now, my inspiration for this and testing and my initial thought process, I guess, for this build came thanks to my friend Jose or Judge Will. They do have a YouTube channel where they cover all things Weisschwarz. I'll put a link in the description below for them. But yeah, I wanted to share with you what I have finalized as my Suisei Iroha deck profile. Starting, of course, with the Oshi, we run Hoshimachi Suisei. Her 2 skills, her SP Oshi for 2 Holo Power Comet, is when this Oshi or your blue Holomem deals damage to a back Holomem on your opponent's stage, you may pay 2 Holo Power to deal an additional 50 damage to that Holomem. And if the Holomem is down by this, you do take life from your opponent. This card is really neat for its Oshi skill, but also its SP Oshi skill, also for 2 Holo Power Shooting Star. Whenever you deal damage to your opponent's center or collab Holomem, you may pay 2 for your SP skill to deal the same amount of damage to a back Holomem of your opponent's. This basically allows you to get a double KO very, very easily, and depending on situations with obviously running your collab, swinging into it, in a single turn, you can deal enough damage to be able to get 3 downs, which in certain games can be 3 or sometimes even 4 life, especially if your opponent's running Buzz Holomem. It's a very aggressive Oshi Holomem. It does a lot of damage, but it's also a very tactical and technical Oshi, and your timing of when you decide to use your SP Oshi and your Oshi skills are super, super important. In terms of the cheer deck, pretty straightforward. We do just run 20 blue cheers. Nothing really to talk about there. Everything in your deck requires blue cheers, apart from 1 card which does require a different color cheer, but we don't run that to attack with it, let me tell you that. Starting off with our Suisei lines, we run 6 copies of the unlimited debut 90 HP, and for 1 colorless cheer it does 20 damage and also allows you to deal 10 damage to one of your opponent's back Holomem. A really, really good starting unit. We also run 4 copies of the other debut, the collab effect Suisei for 70 HP. It has the collab effect. When this card collabs, you may detach a blue cheer attached to this Holomem, and if you do, draw 2 cards, providing that your Oshi is Suisei. And it also has a single blue cheer attack for 30 damage and no effect. This card is really good in the early game. You want to see it super like turn 1, turn 2. You don't really want to see it past that, honestly. But you have to run it as a 4-of because you do want to see it turn 1, turn 2. It just gives you that extra draw power that you need in this deck. And yeah, it's just a decent one that you just collab with and eventually just bloom over it to make it so it's not so squishy with that 70 HP. Moving on to the first blooms, we run 4 copies of the Idol Suisei with 120 HP. Her bloom effect, when she's bloomed, you can deal 20 damage to one of your opponent's back Holomems. And then for 2 colorless cheer, it does 50 damage. The attack does quite a lot of damage, but it does require 2 cheer, which is a little awkward at times. But you mainly run it, of course, for the bloom effect because you can combo that with the Oshi skill to basically turn your 20 damage into 70, which can, especially in set 1, just KO a back Holomem pretty easily. So we do run 4 copies of this. We also run 2 copies of the vanilla Hoshimachi Suisei, 150 HP, so it does stick around that little bit longer. And for one blue cheer, it does 30 damage, and for a blue and a colorless, it does 50. So again, it does a decent damage output, but the main reason why you run this is for the HP. Now, I have seen builds run 3 or 4 copies of this card. I currently run 2. I was contemplating putting it to 3. At the moment in time, though, I have no idea what I'd take out. I really don't. Moving on to our final first bloom, we run 1 copy of the Battle Maiden Suisei. She has the collab effect. When you collab with this card, you roll a die. If that die roll is odd, you may choose one of your opponent's back Holomem with 40 or more damage and put it to their archive. It does get downed, but it doesn't take life. So it's a very interesting card. Yeah, it's just a very interesting one-off tech. You could remove this for a 3rd copy of this. Some people do that, but I do like having that tech where you can just whistle down something that's very scary and then just have the chance to go, yeah, by the way, it's gone. You've set it up. It's got 200 HP. You've taken 40 damage. Oh, well, you're gone now. Yeah, this card is really nice, and I personally quite enjoy it as a tech. And that's, I guess, my playstyle. Finally, of course, we run 4 copies of the 2nd bloom Hoshimachi Suisei, 210 HP, which is very good for a 2nd bloom. With the collab effect, when you collab with this card, you may choose take the top card of your cheer deck and attach it to any of your blue Holomem. So it can be to herself, or it could be to something else that needs it, which is kind of neat. And for 4 cheer, it's 3 blue, 2 colorless, 60 plus with an advantage to red. You may, when you use this art, you may detach 2 blue cheer from this Holomem, and if you do, it gains an additional 60 damage for each Holomem stacked underneath this, and you can attack back row with this card. Kind of good. Like, it's doing 180, maybe 240 damage if you do decide to go down bloom into first again, and bloom into this. So in certain matchups, ensuring that you can guarantee 240 damage, even 250 with a certain support in this deck. Basically be able to down any Holomem in one attack, and then also combining it with your SP Oshi skill, whereby it becomes 2 lots of 250 damage to basically down any 2 Holomem. This is a really neat Holomem, and there's a reason why, even with set 3, set 4, it is one of the top performing decks in the meta, and it is mostly due to this card. Not all of it, just mostly. That is the Suisei line. Moving on to our 2nd line, and that is, like I mentioned, Iroha. We run 5 copies of her debut Unlimited. 120 HP is really good for a debut Unlimited Holomem, and it can do 20 damage for a colorless cheer if you need it to. It's kind of nice, but the reason why we run Iroha is purely because of the 1st bloom idol Bodyguard. Iroha, 140 damage. If this card is in the collab position, because of its gift effect, when your opponent uses an art, it must target this card in the collab position. So you are basically using this to protect your Suisei. Now, yes, that kind of means that in a lot of situations, you are not really using the collab effect for the 2nd Suisei. You are prioritizing trying to loop the Bodyguard into your collab position as much as possible, and then basically trying to get to the end game where you're going, okay, here's 2 of my Hoshimachi Suiseis in the front row, and I'm going to take down 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 Holomem. No, 3 Holomem max, 2, maybe 3 through your Suiseis. But the importance of this card is that you are basically keeping a 2nd Suisei in your front row. You'll combine it with a support basically so that your Suisei, even though it's attaching 2 cheers a turn, can still attack every turn. And I'll come to that when we come to our supports. But these together work really well. And when you are in the mirror match, like for example, having the Iroha means that their Suisei cannot attack your back row because their arts must go to the Iroha. Special damage can still do whatever you want with it. Nothing you can do about special damage. But normal arts damage, you can 100% stop and slow down because of this Bodyguard. And I think this works really well in the current meta, where you want to keep your center alive as long as possible, and you want to restrict what your opponent can actually do in terms of dealing with your center and potentially your backstage as well. So yes, this is the build that I've gone for. The other build that you can go with Suisei is a more cheer aggressive route, which you would then run the Luna line, at least for set 1. Set 2, you would change that to KYOU. But I genuinely think this is a really good deck with Holomems, and I think people underrate it. I genuinely do. Moving on to our supports, we of course, as every deck does right now, run 4 copies of Hadosaki Nodoka, draw 3 cards. Don't need to say more. Everyone knows that Nodoka is a fantastic card, and it still is until set 4, set 5. You're going to be running this as a 3 to 4 of in basically every deck. I am also running 3 copies of Manager-chan. Now, the reason why I still run Manager-chan is because in this build, there isn't another way of getting cards to your hand, and you can run dry of hand quite easily in this deck. So you can get yourself down to 2, 3, maybe even 1 card. And as long as you've got 1 additional card in your hand, you can play Manager-chan. And then if you do, you shuffle all of your hand back into your deck and you draw 5 new cards. So in the worst case scenario, this card is a +3, where if you have this card and another card in your hand, you play this, you shuffle 1 back and draw 5. So you've played 1, you've lost 1, you've gained 5. So you have basically +3, which is pretty good. We also run 1 copy of So That Makes You My Enemy. Now, some people don't run this card, and I get why, because at the end of the day, your Suisei can attack back row. Cool. But the reason why I do run this card is because sometimes you do want to be able to swap your opponent's backstage to the center stage, and then take that down, and then use your SP Oshi skill, then take down a different Holomem that you didn't switch to the back. So it just gives you that little bit of extra control if you need it. But again, you don't, a lot of decks run it as like a 2 copy. We only run it as a 1 here purely because the Suisei can target the back row quite easily. We run 3 copies of normal PC. We don't run 4 purely, honestly, because of space. I would love to run 4 in this deck, but honestly, I have no idea what I would take out for it. So we do run 3 copies. Again, as mentioned before, good card is good. Reveal a debut Holomem from your deck and put it onto your backstage. It's colloquially known as a nest ball because of Pokemon. Surprise, surprise. Game that's like Pokemon gets like slang and jargon with card names from Pokemon. Shock horror. Now, because this deck doesn't have a cheer ramp engine, we do run a different card to try and help that. We run 4 copies of Circle of Hololive Listeners. This card is, it's a high roll card. You roll a die. If it is a 3 or greater, you may send 1 cheer from your archive to your Holomem. Obviously, because of our second Bloom Suisei and because of our debut collab Suisei, you are going to be sending cheers to your archive. And this is a way to get them back, and it's also classed as a cheer ramp because you are getting an extra cheer in your turn, which you normally wouldn't do. This is your alternate cheer ramp for Suisei, and because that's so important, you do run 4 copies of it. We run 3 copies, sorry Suisei, I'm going to put it here, of Suisei's microphone. It is a tool which gives the Holomem that it's attached to +10 damage to its arts. And then it's got an additional ability where if it is attached to a 1st or greater Hoshimachi Suisei, when this Holomem with this tool attached downs one of your opponent's Holomems during your turn, you must put the top card of your cheer deck under that Holomem. So again, you're detaching 2 cheers, so you go from 4 to 2. You then, if you have this attached, you go back to 3 if you KO something. And then at the beginning of your next turn, you go back to 4. And that is how you get your Suisei to attack every turn. If for whatever reason your Suisei can't down something, that's where Circle Hololive Listeners comes in to save the day. And the final card we run 2 copies of Sub PC. This card, basically because you are running a decent amount of limited cards, and you need to see a draw card as much as you can, if not ideally, every turn. So Sub PC allows you to basically dig for your Nodokas, dig for your Mana-chans, and increase your chances of getting those cards that basically add cards to your hand. And that's why we do run it. You could take it out and run a 4th PC, you could run a 4th microphone, but I have found that sub PC in some games has legitimately saved me, because it's found me a Nodokor, it's found me a Mana-chan, and sometimes it's found me the enemy as well. So there are situations where this card has legitimately helped me win a game. And as a result of that, I've kept it in as a 2 of. And that is my Hoshimachi Suisei and Kazuma Iroha deck profile. What do you think? Do you like the Iroha deck list, or do you prefer the cheer ramp engine of Muna or KYOU? Let me know in the comments below. But that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. Check out my other socials, links down in the description. And again, please consider supporting the channel even further by joining and becoming a member from as little as £2 a month. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.